Hey, good evening, good Thursday evening. I am Lexi Johnson, and you're tuning in to the Wealth Seed. And I'm an international speaker. I am a licensed coach, financial strategist, helping women entrepreneurs to master their money God's way so that they can create wealth and become the kingdom wealth builders that God designed them to be. Um, I originally had a different topic in mind today, but I decided to switch up and to go with this. And I know that some of you probably looking at the title, because I'm not one who gets too much into the titles, but some of you will look at and be like, the jobs report. What does that have to do with me? But it has everything to do with you. And I'm trying to encourage people. So as you come in, just let me know who you are, where you're watching from, so that I can acknowledge you if possible. Um, so you might be thinking, well, what the heck does the jobs report have to do with me? But it has everything to do with you. And I'm here to encourage people to pay attention to the different things that are going on financially in your economy, because those things that you think don't really have anything to do with you, they actually do. So I'm going to talk to you today about the most recent jobs report and actually how it affects you. It affects your emergency savings, but not just your emergency savings. It affects you if you're an investor. It affects you if you're in the market for home buying or selling a home or any of these things, right? I think that we have a tendency in our country, maybe different in some other countries, but we have a tendency in this country to put things in silos, like they don't affect the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So today, I'm going to help you to understand how the jobs report affects you, and with hopefully, my objective is to encourage you to pay attention going forward to these different, not just the jobs reports, but again, any reports that come out from our federal government that have anything remotely to do with finances. So, information that I'm going to be sharing with you today is public information and knowledge. This is not anything that, I had to be sitting in a certain room to get, or that I have some kind of special um, access. Nope, this is all Googleable. Is that a word? Googleable? If it isn't, I made it up today. But anyway, so these numbers that I pulled are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Hello, Brother Maycock. Hey, thanks for tuning in and watching. So these are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So if you just put Bureau of Labor Statistics in, if you put most recent federal jobs report 2023 in, like, you'll come across this stuff, right? So I found some very interesting things. All right. So first of all, the jobs report reported that the unemployment rate has held at 3.8% from last month through, not last month, from August to September, because we're into October now. So this report covers through September. So the unemployment rate held the same. Now you're going to see why I feel like this is really, really interesting. Oh, by the way, if you're tuning in, normally I have a crazy money story. I don't have one today. I'm just getting right to it. But we will be back to our crazy money story segment next week. All right. So the unemployment rate has held the same, right? From August to September, 3.8%. Very, very little change at all in any of the sectors regarding unemployment, right? Nothing changed for part-time, nothing really changed for full-time, any of that, right? But it's very interesting to note what industries had some gains in jobs made available. I want to make sure that I say that and that it's distinct. Okay, jobs made available. So in the leisure and hospitality, well, let me come to them last. So government has made 73,000 more jobs available. Healthcare has made 41,000 more jobs available, which is actually down from their monthly average of 53,000. But their increases aren't so much a surprise, right? Because we have, if you think about it, we've got the baby boomers who are now, entering into their very mature ages. And unfortunately, because our society is not about health prevention, because there's no money in health prevention, they bank on people getting older and needing to pour more money into healthcare. So we see the jobs that are available becoming there are more jobs becoming available in that area. So that's not a surprise, right? Social assistance, 25,000 jobs becoming available there. But leisure and hospitality, I want to talk about that one. And there were several other industries, but I want to talk about this one, leisure and hospitality. So between August and September, the leisure and hospitality industry added 96,000 jobs. Okay. Their average monthly that they add jobs is 61,000. Okay. So if you really think about it, if you've been doing any traveling, you can see how this is the case. All right. Some years ago, we had the whole pandemic shenanigans, and that caused a lot of job loss because people stopped traveling. Now people are traveling again. Okay. So now they have to open these jobs back up, because if you've been traveling over the last year, one of the things that you've encountered is that, planes have been delayed or flights have been canceled and stuff because of staff shortages. Okay. Along with whatever mechanical issues or this or that or the other, one of the more prevalent reasons over the recently has been the fact that there have been staffing shortages. Okay. So they have more jobs available. Now, the interesting thing is these industries that I've read and others have made more jobs available, but check it out. They said the unemployment rate held. There was no change in it. So what does that mean? That means people are fine not working. Okay, or whatever it is that they're doing. They're fine with it. So whether people have left the market to start businesses, or they're just not working, or whatever it is, people are just good with not working. Like, people are not running out to go and capitalize on these jobs that are available. So if you are in the market for a job, you don't really have any excuse. Okay. Everybody's hiring. Everybody and their mama is hiring. Okay. Even food services is, has increased the jobs that they have available, and they're back to their pre-pandemic numbers. But this leisure and hospitality, let's talk about that, because the increase in jobs mean that more people now are back to traveling. And what does that mean? That means that people are spending leisurely again. Okay. Because remember, when we had the pandemic, or when we have big price hikes and inflation and all that kind of stuff, people kind of pull back. They're not doing those things. But people have gotten comfortable with what's going on in the economy, because they are spending again in the area of leisure and hospitality. Okay. Leisure and hospitality. That means these are things that are not necessary. Okay. This is not like groceries. This is not like health. This is not like, any of those things. These people are spending on things that are not necessary. Okay. So what does that mean for us? Okay. If people are now back to spending just on leisurely things, well, it means a few things. The Fed doesn't like it. Now, you might be like, what do you mean they don't like it? Isn't that what they want? Isn't they want people to spend? Not in this area. Okay. The Fed doesn't like it. Because when people are out there spending, because the Fed has a goal, right? They want to bring their rate down, the federal funds rate down. Right now, that rate is at 5.5%. The highest that we have seen it in the last couple of years is like near 7, right? Or a little over 7. So now it's at 5.5%. They had a goal of getting it to 2.2%, a hard goal of 2%. And then they recently, probably around June or so, they kind of backed off of the 2% goal, and made it, well, let's see if we can't get it to average 2% over time, right? So the Fed doesn't like it that people are out there spending on leisure. Why? Because that keeps the interest rate high. Okay. When spending is up, here's the other thing. When spending is up, saving is down. Okay. Because we as a people, we don't know how to spend leisurely and save at the same time. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people out there who don't know how to do that. I'm talking about the majority of people, because there's also been reports that people's personal savings are depleted, okay, or will be depleted in this quarter. I made a post about that the other day with the actual numbers, okay? So over this, people during the pandemic years were saving money, and we've come out of the pandemic. Everybody is, getting comfortable in the economy again. We've got more jobs available. So people are feeling like they can spend, because they're like, you know what? Even if I don't have a job today, I can spend my money because I can go get a job, because all of these jobs are available. So people are just out there doing what they do, right? And many people, when they begin to spend leisurely, they are not actually replenishing the savings, okay? And because when you spend leisurely, not only do you need to replenish, but you got to replenish and then some, right, to catch up to where you were. And I think that's what most people don't understand. So I titled this The Jobs Report and How It Affects Your Emergency Savings. And this is how it affects it. Okay. So saving is declining. So what does that mean? When savings decline, then you've got more borrowing. And for the everyday person, borrowing isn't necessarily loans all the time. That's credit cards, right? So if you look, you will see that credit card spending is up again. And I personally know this because I have an overabundance of people seeking me out right now because their credit cards have gotten a little bit out of hand. Okay. So that's what we got. Spending is up. Okay. On the leisure. Okay. Leisure and hospitality. Spending is up. Saving is declining. Borrowing is increasing, particularly borrowing from self, right? Because through credit cards. And when your borrowing is increasing, then you spend more, right? So whether you're borrowing from yourself through credit cards, okay, I won't go there. I won't be too picky about the terms. Or you are getting personal loans or whatever the case may be, now you're spending more. And if you are spending more, the Fed doesn't really like it right now because it doesn't help to bring the interest rate down. Okay. So the Fed is kind of in this conundrum trying to figure out, okay, how do we address this? How can we bring the spending down, but at the same time, encourage people, that people will spend. So the Fed, then what they do is try to manipulate what we call short-term interest rates. Okay, that's that 5.5 that I was talking about. So if you're in the market for a mortgage, if you're in the market for a car, any type of loan that has these interest rates on them, it's not the greatest time. Okay, in the housing, in the mortgage industry right now, I think we're seeing interest rates of like 8%, which we hadn't seen for many years. Don't quote me. I think it's been since sometime in the 80s. Not sure. Don't quote me on that. But we haven't seen 8% like in many, many years. Right. So the Fed is like, how do we discourage people from spending, over on this leisure and hospitality front. Okay. And the only way to do that is to hold at the interest rates. So you have seen them trying to debate whether they're going to raise it or not. They've held, I think, over the last couple months, and they're kind of watching things. Now, how does this affect you if you are an investor? All right. So let me be clear first before I move on and talk about investing. Let me be clear. If you are one of the people who you're traveling again, you're doing much more, you find yourself doing many more weekend getaways, much more traveling, much more leisure types of spending, much more spending with hospitality, out to eat. If you're finding yourself doing a lot of that, more than likely, you also might be one of the people who aren't really saving the way that you should be. You're going through your cash reserves because you feel like things are going okay. And if you needed to go make some more money, you can, whether that's to go get a job or start a business or whatever. So you're feeling comfortable. And this is where people get in trouble because we only think about today. Okay. We are only thinking about today. Hello, Apostle. How are you? Good to see you. So we're only thinking about today, right? So we got the increase in the jobs. And just for those of you who are just joining, we got the increase in the jobs in leisure and hospitality and many other areas that I mentioned. But that one I pulled out specifically, 96,000 new jobs that are available that were created last month. Okay, because people are traveling again. And when people are traveling and spending money leisurely again, typically saving declines because not everyone, but enough people, when they're spending leisurely, don't continue to save, right? Or they don't continue to save at a rate that helps them to not only just catch up to where they were, to what they took out. So for example, I had $10,000. I took $5,000 and spent on a trip. But I'm not saving at a rate to put that $5,000 back in quickly, nor get me to where I actually would have been if I never took the $5,000 out before. Right? Now that's a conundrum. You always saying, well, Lexi, how do you do that? How do you take out from your cash reserves, right? Go do what you do with it. I can understand, okay, putting money back in to build up, but how do I put money back in to build up plus money that will get me to where I was had I never took the money out before? Right? So if you want to know how to do that, I have a free masterclass that is coming up on October 24th. And I believe I put the link in the comments. I'm going to put the link, not in the comments. I put the link in the description, but I'm going to drop the link here in the comments as well. And give me a minute because I can't do two things at once. I'm gonna mess it all up. Give me 1 second. I'm dropping it in here. Here we go. There you go. So if you are one of the people who are like, yeah, I've just been spending my cash reserves because everything is gravy right now, but I've not been putting it back at all, or I've been putting it back a little bit, but not to the point where I could get to the point that if I never took it out and just continued to save, how do I get there? Because I took the money out. Okay. You need to figure that out. You need to come to my masterclass. Okay. 5 steps to an unshakable cash reserve so that I can share with you exactly how you do that. And I'm not going to hold back, right? Like you go to some masterclasses, people kind of trying to hold back on, information. I'm not holding back. Not at all. Not holding back. By the time you leave there, you will know the steps that you can go and do them on your own if you desire. That's what it is. All right. So I'll leave that there. So that's how this jobs report is affecting you and your emergency savings. So I'm encouraging you again that when you hear these different reports that come out, the jobs report, things about inflation, things about, I know, this is like, it's not sexy. It's not like for many of you, it's not a fun topic. You're not a geek about it like I am. I get it. But the thing is, you have to understand that this is affecting you in your everyday life. So it would behoove you to pay attention to these things, right? So now let's talk about how the increase in these jobs in hospitality and leisure, are affecting investors and what investors are doing. Okay, so we said that these jobs, because they are available, people are comfortable that jobs are available, so they're doing more spending, not saving, all of that stuff. And because they're not saving, now they're using their credit cards again, because once they go spend it all, they got, they don't have money to take care of some other things. So we're using credit cards. And then the more we use credit cards, or the more we take out loans, the more we spend. It's such a conundrum, right? So not only that, so the Fed is trying to figure this out. So the Fed is, 5.5 is the interest rate. They're trying to bring it down to near 2%, or to somewhere where they can say, hey, over a period of time, the average is 2%. That's what they're trying to do. Well, in order for them to do that, then they've got to discourage spending. So how do they discourage spending? By either increasing their rate. Okay, where at this point they're kind of staying where they are. So we're at this 5.5, but like I said, in the mortgage industry now you're seeing 8%, interest rates on automobiles. That has gone crazy, right? So you're seeing higher interest rates there. So they're trying to discourage people from spending. But when they discourage people from spending, that affects investors. Why? Because investors invest in companies, right? And companies are being discouraged right now from borrowing as well, because the interest rates are higher. So when companies are borrowing money, why do they borrow? Oh, they borrow money because typically they're trying to manage cash flow, or they are doing an expansion or something like that, right? All of these things are great things that investors want to see in the companies that they invest in. They want to see that the company can manage their cash flow. They want to see that the companies are expanding and growing and innovating and all of that stuff. But a lot of companies do this by leveraging debt. Okay. So now if they are not borrowing, guess what? That slows down. It slows down innovation. It slows down it could produce some cash flow issues. It could, so that signals to investors like, this don't look too good, right? So, and the investors that I'm talking about right now I'm talking about your big time investors. I'm talking about like your Warren Buffetts, right? I'm talking about people like them. There are many of us, smaller investors like you and I, right, who are in the market, but it's not our money really that's shifting the market. Okay. A lot of us in there, but not even all of us together are shifting the market. What's shifting the market is the big investors, those big time investors like Warren Buffett, because what happens is they see all this going on just from a job availability increase, y'all. They see all this going off and they're like, you know what? Time to sell off, right? So they begin to sell off their shares in various different companies that they feel are not going to borrow during this time, or not going to be able to, maintain cash flow or expand or whatever the case may be, right? So they are selling off. Now, what does a big sell-off do? Well, a big sell-off causes volatility in the market. And so what have we been experiencing? We have been experiencing volatility in the market. Okay. The day this jobs report came out, don't quote me. I think it was about 6 days ago, but don't quote me. It might have been a little bit more. The day this jobs report came out, the stock market ended in the red. The Dow, the S&P, all of them ended in the red. And you would think, oh, it's more jobs. Why would the stock market be down? They are inversely related. Okay. So that means that more jobs available, so market goes down. It just is crazy, right? But I hope you can see how I'm explaining that, how that makes sense. So the investors are selling off. That causes the prices of the market to plummet. Now, how does that affect you? Well, if you are in the market for the long term, meaning you got 7 or more years, 7 to 10 years or more in the market, no issue, right? Because you have time to bounce back. Okay. You have time to bounce back from downs. But if you are in the market and you are, like a couple years away, 3 years, less than 5 years away from retirement, that's not good. If you are currently in retirement or you are currently living off of your return on investments, that's not good. Okay. So what you see is these big investors shifting their monies, they're selling off. They're not coming out of the market entirely. They're just coming out and they're getting in a different way. So now what you will see them doing is putting a lot of their monies into hedge funds, different types of day trading or whatever, so that because they are living off of their return on investments. Okay. And so this affects you too. If you are, like I said, if you are maybe a portion of your income, you are living off of return on various different investments. If you're getting ready to retire in the next 3 to 5 years, this affects you. It affects you even if you're not getting ready to retire, at least, in the next 7 years or so, because you're like, okay, I have time to recuperate, right? So all of this stuff is important to know. And all of this I gathered from a jobs report. And most people would look at the jobs report and not even connect everything that's going on in the economy. But if you are following me, and surely if you are a client of mine, I am teaching you how to connect all of these things because it is important for you in your finances. Yes, you, the individual, you, and you. I'm talking to you. Everything that the government is reporting on as it relates to finances affects you, and you need to know how, right? So again, I say, if you are one of these people who have been living it up in the last year or so, right? If you've been living it up in the last year or so, enjoying it because you're like, look, all is good. We're out of the pandemic. There's lots of jobs available. If I need to, I could just go out there and get it. And you just been spending, but you have not been replenishing plus some. You need to be in my master class. Okay. If you haven't even recovered from the pandemic, right? And you depleted your savings during the pandemic and have not recovered since, you need to be in my master class. October 24th. Okay. The link is in the comments. The link is also in the description. The master class is free. It's a couple of hours, and I'm going to give you everything I got in terms of how you can build an unshakable cash reserve. I know it's nearing the end of the year, and most people are like, have given up on their money goals. Like, you know what? I'll just get a fresh start in January. No. Your January starts right now. This year is not over. And what you do right now can give you momentum going into January, right? The hardest thing to do is to start something or to start a new habit or to restart something. And so I want to ignite that in you, right? I want to be that catalyst that gets you going. And we don't want to wait until 2025. I know some of y'all have already. It's October. Y'all like, oh, it's just 2 months left. I'll just wait till January and start fresh then. No, your fresh start begins now. And it begins by you clicking the link to sign up for that masterclass and be in that class so that you can the steps, 5 steps, right, that I give you, you can be working. They are actionable things that you can begin right away. Right away. It's not going to matter if you have $5 or $5,000. It's not going to matter if you have $500 or $10,000. It's not going to matter. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to start on these steps right away. If you don't start on them, it's just going to be because you just don't want to, period. You like living the way you're living and you good with it. You don't want to change. And that's that, right? So anyway, that's that. I hope that you've enjoyed the information today. Like I said, I know this ain't always as sexy to y'all as it is to me. Yes, Apostle, period. Okay. Or I did all this, period. There you go. Anyway, I know all this ain't as sexy to y'all all the time as it is to me, but I need you to understand how important it is. And it don't have to be sexy, right? Like, I don't know. I was trying to think of a good analogy. It's not coming right now, but it doesn't have to be, sexy. You need to get it. Okay. You need to get it. All right. Because all of you, what's sexy to you is creating wealth, right? What's sexy to you is, oh, I want to leave a legacy. Like these are the things that, when people come and talk to me or when they get on my calendar, they talk to me about these things that they want to do. Oh, I want to invest. I want to, create wealth. I want to learn how to live off of my return on interest. I want to create a legacy. I want to be a kingdom wealth builder. I want to do, but then we don't want to pay attention to the things that are necessary for us to get there. All right. So I ain't fussing y'all. Or maybe I am. But I am highly encouraging you. If you missed it last time, I think I ran this class in August. If you missed it, it's back. Okay. Click on the link and get signed up. It will cost you nothing but 2 hours of your time. And then if you decide that you're going to implement these steps, then of course it's going to cost you, some time to do that, but it's going to be well worth it, right? If you can create wealth, if you can reach your financial goals, if you can be financially successful, if you can be financially independent, if you can leave a legacy for your children, if you can carry out your kingdom mandates, if you can do all, wouldn't it be worth it? 2 hours? I mean, wouldn't it be worth it? I think so. In the grand scheme of things, I think so. All right. So that's all I got to say. Go sign up for the class. I'll see you in there on October 24th. Thank you for joining me today. Hope this information has been helpful to you. And I will see you next Thursday on another episode of The Wealth Seed. Oh, by the way, catch us Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, Building Wealth Intentionally. We do this every second Saturday. That is Apostle Juanita Corey Jackson, Minister Angela Hope, and myself. Again, another platform where we are, educating you all to just stuff people pay thousands of dollars for. You can tune in and get some stuff, for free. So Saturday, 10 a.m., whatever platform you're watching me on now, you'll be able to see it then. You can also specifically go to Global Impact University, the group, I believe. Yeah, go join the group. Okay, go join the group, Global Impact University. And so that you can, yes, thousands, so that you can check us out Saturday morning, 10 a.m. All right. Peace out, y'all. Bye.